Hi, I'm Mart, and you are watching Mart's Movies Review here on yourmedia.tv. The movies I'm going to talk about today are the movies of Woody Allen. I'm going to talk about his movies Bananas, Play It Again Sam, and Annie Hall. So I'm going to start with the movie Bananas. Bananas is one of Woody Allen's early movies from 1971. He made it after his feature debut, Take the Money and Run. So he plays a character called King Mellish. His real life wife was in the film with him, Louise Lasser, and she plays Nancy. And in the film, he's pretending to be an activist, a phony activist, just to stay with this girl and get with her. And accidentally, he becomes one of these revolutionary figures like Fidel Castro. It's kind of like making fun light of South American politics. There's some funny scenes early on in the movie with the meetup and breakup of himself and Nancy in the park. There's some nice camera work, long lens camera work. There's a funny scene with Howard Cosell, the famous sports journalist, in the locker room, and he's telling him about uh, getting with this woman and breaking up with this woman. And there's a funny ending to that scene with Alan. He has to go down to South America, San Marcos, and meet all the South American revolutionaries, El Presidente. So just to kind of pursue, one is telling him that he needs to be more masculine, more manly. The woman he's with, Nancy. So he decides to get out to South America, and he accidentally becomes this kind of revolutionary leader. And there's some funny scenes before he sets off to South America and goes into guerrilla training. He's finds himself in a subway scene where there's two thugs on the subway trying to hassling passengers on the subway train. One of them happens to be Sylvester Stallone in an early movie, and they're just sitting down beside people and rattling their newspapers. And after a while, Woody Allen's reading a book and reading it nervously and reading a newspaper, and he pushes the guys off the subway, out of the subway doors. And they come back on again, and then he does a runner at the end. And there's a funny scene with a woman reading a newspaper at the end. It's just hilarious. He was very good at visual humor, Woody Allen, and in his next film as well, you see more of it play against Sam, and further on with Diane Keaton in the movie Love and Death, using Russian characters. And the final scene in Woody Allen's Bananas is hilarious. It's a courtroom scene. He's coming back from into America from some of these South American countries, and there's a funny scene at the airport where they're all speaking in English, but there's also English subtitles, and it's just one guy repeating what the other guy's saying. Is funny, and the courtroom scene is funny. You have this black woman, and she's on the stand, and she's saying, "Yeah, well, what's your name?" Your man's asking her. So my name is J. Edgar Hoover. I'm the director of the FBI. You know what I mean? And so I'm in disguise. It's just a funny scene. Talking about it's like the American government against Fielding Mellish. Is he safe to be in the country, or is he just a South American revolutionary? But it's an early Woody Allen film which you should check out. A lot of the films before Annie Hall are often missed. A lot of people start with Annie Hall with Woody Allen, but before that, you have to watch a lot of his films like Take the Money and Run, Bananas, Love and Death. There's a lot of great films. Play Against Sam. You know, there's some excellent films before Annie Hall. There's just funny visual humor and just funny scenes with Alan writing and directing a lot of them himself. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Play It Against Sam. And Play It Against Sam is really about Woody Allen going on dates with women, or are they working out or are they not? And he's hanging around with Diane Keating a lot anyway, and he decides just to hang out with her in the evenings anyway. She's with someone else, but they both kind of are into Humphrey Bogart, and Humphrey Bogart is in the movie as a kind of fantasy figure, an alter ego of Woody Allen. He's got Woody Allen in his room as pictures, and he's wondering what would Bogart do in my situation. Scenes there where he's talking to Linda, Diane Keating, about going on a picnic and go back to her house to watch The Big Sleep, with the Humphrey Bogart film. The date they go on as well with Tony Roberts. Tony Roberts was an excellent actor. He's in a lot of Woody Allen films. He was in Serpico as well with Al Pacino. And there's a great scene in Annie Hall, where a long shot scene with the two of them walking down the street. He's a great actor, and they go on a date anyway. Woody and Diane Keating, Tony Roberts, another woman, and Woody Allen, of course, is anxious and nervous, and he's eating too much with the chopsticks on the rice. He's saying to her, she goes to the toilet anyway, goes to the bathroom, the restroom, and he says, she digs me, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Then she tells him she in the car on the way home, she has a headache and she just got to go home. And he's at the door kind of talking to her at the door, and she just got in the door and slams the door behind her. But anyway, that was him. But the best scene in Played Against Sam is the museum scene, where they're going into the museum, Woody Allen and Diane Keating, looking at the paintings of Van Gogh and Jackson Pollock, and Diane Keating, shows him a girl that might be into him, So he walks over to the girl and talks to her about Jackson Pollock, and she's a very good-looking woman. Diana Davia, her parents are Cuban, funny enough, just going on from bananas, and she was in the Dark Shadows, the Gothic Supernatural series, and she was Anne Frank in the Diary of Anne Frank. It's just a funny scene because she's so good-looking. You think she's just going to be just saying all nice things, but she says some very dark, disturbing kind of meanings of the Jackson Pollock painting that she's looking at with Alan. And it's just very funny, like the end. And she's there's funny moments towards the end of the scene. You have to watch it to see it. Finally, I'm going to look at the movie Annie Hall from 1977, and won an array of Oscars for Alan himself and Best Actress for Diane Keating. There's a great scene early on, or towards in the middle of the film. There's a terrace scene where they're speaking in English to each other, but there's subtitles showing the real meaning of what they're saying to each other, which is kind of cute and funny as well. It is a kind of funny romantic movie, charting, Woody Allen's childhood up to the present day. There's a great scene in the film as well when Woody Allen is going to a comedy kind of convention. It's kind of a mixed night, and he meets this woman called Alison Pushnick, and he starts talking to her before he has to go out and do his comedy routine. And he's a bit anxious again as usual, but he's saying kind of funny stuff to her, and it's kind of a cute, funny scene. There's also in the film, there's a great scene in the film where they're at the cinema. They're going to see The Sorrow and the Pity, and Alan or Diane Keating are saying that it's just a few minutes started, or it's just started, and they're late. It's too late. We can't go in. Can't go into the film. It's just started. I've met people like that in life as well, and they're queuing up, and there's a guy complaining about Fellini movies, and Woody Allen is listening to all this. The man behind is complaining about Fellini. He's like Samuel Beckett. He doesn't hit me at a gut level. And Woody Allen's saying to Diane Keating, I'd like to hit him at a gut level. They had to talk about Marshall McLuhan, the kind of the cultural critic, and he's kind of complaining about him. And Woody Allen then just comes to the camera and looks to the camera and says, well, here's Marshall McLuhan here beside me. And he's kind of contradicting this kind of academic, who's talking about, modern culture. There's a great scene as well when Woody Allen goes to see Diane Keating's family. He's playing a character called Alvy Singer. So he's going to see the family. They have a sit-down meal and everything, and he's upstairs, and I think he's going to the restroom, and he passes a room with her brother, played by Christopher Walken, who was called Dwayne. And Dwayne is telling Woody Allen that at nighttime he likes to, he thinks about, driving his car into other cars and crashing. He has these kind of visions, and Woody Allen is kind of freaked out by him. Dwayne, I'm going back to planet Earth. And then the next scene, you see them going to the airport. Alvy Singer and Annie Hall, they're going to the airport with Dwayne driving the car, and the window blades are going back and forth, window wipers going back and forth, and Alan is kind of giving him a side look, just hoping that this guy doesn't crash the car or starts crashing into people on the way to the airport. It's just a funny scene. Like, Woody Allen's films are kind of comic films, even though he said himself he'd like to make serious films. His movies, Bananas, Play It Against Sam, Take the Money and Run, Love and Death, Before Annie Hall are classics. They're classic comedy. Now, he got into films early on with What's New Pussycat with Peter Sellers and Peter O'Toole, and he wasn't happy with the way the script was rewritten. So he decided to write and direct films himself. And he uses little amounts of money to make his films. So he doesn't have to have a producer or the company on his back. So he just gets like $1 million, $2 million. And I was watching a documentary on Woody Allen, and they just get the very lowest rate as part of SAG, the union, the kind of union they have in America usually, the equity over this side of the water. So, well, because a lot of performers want to be in his movies because he makes very, very entertaining movies usually about life and death, sex and death, and he is one of the funniest comic writers out there. He used to write for Sid Caesar on his shows along with different other writers as well. And I was just watching a documentary on him recently, and it shows his career from like 1969 up to the present. So he's 84 years old now. He's been making films for about 52 years. And there's a lot of classics there, a lot of great films. I mean, even I have to see some more of his films. Post Annie Hall, 1977, he had Manhattan in 1979, where Gordon Willis did his cinematography, like he had done with the Godfather, and into the 1980s as well. I mean, the movie Husbands and Wives is a great film as well. It's really well made, and up to the present day, he makes a film every year. It seems his productive rate is amazing, and a lot of top actors, want to work with him. So I would say, like, Bananas, when I saw it first, I think I got in a box set of his films in Dublin when I was there. And I shared them with friends of mine at work as well. So I got Bananas, I had got Love and Death. I think I had Play It Against Sam on a separate DVD. And my friends up there in Dublin, they enjoyed them as well. They found them very funny, hilarious, like especially the visual comedy. And I think the thing about Alan is, he just makes interesting characters. I mean, in the film I have just seen slightly of, but it's very well revered, is Hannah and Her Sisters. The Purple Rose of Cairo is a great film. I like the fantasy of the star on the screen and the woman watching the star, getting together. It's a brilliant idea. Yeah, he's got great ideas for films, and that's like a lot of people that don't really understand art too much. It's like Dan Brown. People say, "Oh, Dan Brown's book is written really badly," but it's the idea of Dan Brown's. It's what it's all about, And the same was said of Hitchcock movies. There's nothing in them, but it's the suspense running through the film, and because the psychological reason for the film, like government secrets, military secrets, is boring. You're supposed to be like making people feel and emote, so it's an emotional experience rather than just a plain psychological experience is in movies. So I think you should get a collection of Woody Allen films if possible, and you can pick and choose which ones you like, when you want to watch them. I mean, recent films like with Midnight in Paris is a great film. I went to the cinema and saw that, and From Rome with Love is another great film as well. I watched that as well at the cinema. So I recommend watching Woody Allen's films, especially his early films before 1977, and into the 80s and 90s on up to the present day. So they're the reviews for this week on Woody Allen's movies, Bananas, Play It Against Sam, and finally, Annie Hall. So if you like this review, give it a like, and you can subscribe to our channel, Near Media, ep.5.tv on the YouTube channel, and you can find us on Lear Media page on Facebook as well. So for this review of Woody Allen films, I'll see you next time.